The Hunters from Beyond. The Vorzak Dominion warfleet emerged from the dimensional rift with brutal efficiency. 12 obsidian vessels shaped like serrated blades cut through the darkness of space, their hull plating absorbing light rather than reflecting it. Each ship bore intricate patterns, battle honors etched by plasma fire, commemorating 1,000 conquered worlds. Supreme Warmaster Krasik stood on the command deck of the flagship Worldbreaker, his massive frame silhouetted against the viewscreen displaying Earth. His leathery hide, mottled with bioluminescent patterns that shifted with his mood, pulsed a deep crimson of anticipation. 4 eyes, evolved for hunting in both darkness and blinding light, studied the blue-green planet below. Preliminary scans complete, Supreme Warmaster announced first hunter facts, her voice a resonant growl produced by dual vocal cords. Her exoskeletal ridges flexed as she manipulated the sensor controls with 6-fingered hands. Nitrogen-oxygen atmosphere, 70% water coverage, moderate radiation levels, gravity at 1.0 standard. And the dominant species. Krasik's mandibles clicked together in what passed for a smile among the Vorzak. Bipedal mammals. No natural armor. No claws of significance. Limited sensory capabilities. They call themselves humans. Facts displayed images captured from the planet's primitive information networks. They appear to have achieved rudimentary spaceflight and basic weapon systems. Krasik's secondary eyes narrowed. Another soft world species. This conquest will barely be worth recording. He turned to his war council, each member representing a different hunting caste of their species. The Dominion requires this world's resources. Deploy hunter teams according to standard acquisition protocol. The Vorzak had evolved on Morbius Prime, a planet legendary throughout the galaxy as the ultimate crucible of evolution. With triple standard gravity, an atmosphere rich in sulfur compounds, and predators that would give nightmares to most sentient species, Morbius had forged the Vorzak into living weapons. Their chitinous exoskeletons could withstand direct energy weapon impacts. Their muscles, developed under crushing gravity, granted them strength to tear apart armored vehicles. Their sensory organs could detect prey from kilometers away. Their metabolisms allowed them to go months without sustenance if necessary. They were the apex predators of the known galaxy, and they were hungry for new hunting grounds. Launch the drop pods, ordered Krasik. First wave. Assessment and perimeter establishment. Across Earth's night sky, what many humans would mistake for a meteor shower began. 1,000 drop pods, each containing a Vorzak hunter in full battle regalia, streaked through the atmosphere. The pods were programmed to land in a precise pattern across the landmass known as North America, far from major population centers, but close enough to valuable resources. Hunt leader Vextalic was first to emerge from his pod, the heat-resistant shell cracking open like an egg. His battlesuit's sensors immediately began analyzing the environment as he stepped onto Earth's soil for the first time. The readings were almost laughably hospitable. Moderate temperature, breathable atmosphere, standard gravity. Pathetic, he chittered to his hunting pack. No wonder these humans never developed proper defenses. The 20 hunters under his command formed a perimeter, their biomechanical armor gleaming in the moonlight of this alien world. Each Vorzak stood nearly 3 meters tall, with 4 arms ending in retractable claws that could slice through reinforced steel. Their upper bodies housed redundant organ systems, while their lower frames balanced on digitigrade legs designed for explosive speed. Commence resource survey, Vextalic ordered. Mark any human settlements for future processing. The hunters moved through the forest with practiced precision. Despite their size, they made less noise than a falling leaf. A skill honed across millennia of evolution as ambush predators. Their sensors detected a small human settlement 5 kilometers to the north, a perfect target for initial assessment. Vextalic was about to issue advance orders when Krasov, a veteran of 17 conquest campaigns, suddenly convulsed. The massive hunter collapsed to the ground, his exoskeleton rapidly changing color from its natural deep purple to a sickly yellow. Hunt leader, Krazoth gasped, his breathing labored. Something wrong. Before Vextalic could respond, 2 more hunters fell, their bodies trembling as their armored limbs clawed at their breathing apparatus. Establish quarantine. Vextalic roared, his own sensors suddenly blaring warnings. Biological contamination detected. On the Worldbreaker, alarms echoed across the command deck as data streamed in from the surface teams. Supreme Warmaster, First Hunter Thax's voice carried an unfamiliar note. Was it fear? The surface teams are experiencing systemic failures. Their immune barriers have been breached. Impossible, Krazek snarled. The Vorzak immune system is unmatched. We've conquered worlds with far more hostile biospheres. This is different, Thax replied, her claws dancing across the diagnostic displays. The planet's microbiome contains organisms unlike anything in our database. They're microscopic, airborne, and they're everywhere. In the atmosphere, the soil, the water. On the surface, Vextalic watched in horror as half his hunting pack succumbed to invisible enemies. Some experienced respiratory failure as their breathing sacs filled with fluid. Others developed neurological symptoms as microscopic invaders crossed blood-brain barriers evolved to resist the most potent toxins in the galaxy. Fall back to the pods. Vextalic ordered, his own vision beginning to blur. Emergency extraction. But it was too late. Of the 20 hunters in his pack, only 7 remained standing, and they were clearly weakening. Vextalic activated his emergency beacon, knowing that their failure would be recorded in the Dominion archives as a shameful defeat, if any survived to report it. Across North America, similar scenes played out as the invincible hunters of the Vorzak Dominion fell not to human weapons, but to microorganisms that humans had evolved alongside for millennia. Bacteria, viruses, fungi, and parasites that found the alien biology of the Vorzak to be perfect, undefended hosts. On the Worldbreaker, Krazek made a decision unprecedented in Vorzak history. Recall all surviving surface teams. Full quarantine protocols. Prepare for emergency dimensional jump. But the conquest, Thax began, is postponed. Krazek interrupted, his bioluminescent patterns now pulsing with the blue of uncertainty. We need to understand what we're facing. As the survivors were extracted, less than 300 from the original 1,000, Thax approached her commander, her scientific curiosity somehow surviving even their defeat. How have they managed it? She asked, her voice barely audible. How do these humans survive on a world saturated with such microscopic predators? Krazek had no immediate answer, but as the Worldbreaker prepared to flee, Earth's primitive defense systems detected the alien presence for the first time. Military installations across the globe went to high alert. Fighter jets scrambled. Missiles were readied. The humans had not yet seen their invisible defenders in action, but they were about to demonstrate that microbes weren't their only weapons. In orbit, the Vorzak fleet initiated emergency jump protocols. But they had delayed too long. The microorganisms brought back by the surviving hunters had already begun spreading throughout the ships. Systems failed as operators collapsed at their stations. Environmental filters became clogged with the bodies of microscopic Earth life, multiplying at exponential rates. And on Earth's surface, humanity prepared for war, unaware that the first wave of invaders had already been defeated by the smallest inhabitants of their world. The Vorzak, the apex predators of the galaxy, were learning a harsh lesson. Sometimes, it's not the size of the predator that matters, but its adaptation to its environment. And humans, it seemed, had adapted to one of the most microbiologically diverse and dangerous environments in the known universe. Dimensional drives engage, reported the navigation officer, her form trembling with the early stages of infection. Jump in 3, 2, 1. As the Vorzak fleet retreated into the dimensional rift, Earth's military forces caught only glimpses of their would-be conquerors. But it was enough to confirm what many had long suspected. Humanity was not alone in the universe. And the universe had just discovered that humans were far more dangerous than they appeared. The prey that hunts back. 6 months after the Vorzak's hasty retreat, Supreme War Master Krasik stood before the High Dominion Council, his once imposing frame now visibly diminished. The bioluminescent patterns across his leathery hide pulsed with the dull orange of humiliation as he delivered his report. The Earth expedition was a failure, he admitted, mandibles clicking in distress. Of the 1,000 hunters deployed, less than 300 returned. Of those, only 46 survived the subsequent quarantine period. The council chamber, a vast amphitheater carved from the living rock of Morbius Prime, erupted in chittering disbelief. The 9 elders, each representing thousands of years of genetic perfection through selective breeding, leaned forward on their obsidian thrones. Explain how the ultimate predators of the galaxy were defeated by soft-skinned mammals with no natural defenses, demanded Elder Six, her ancient exoskeleton bearing the scars of 100 conquest campaigns. Krasik gestured to First Hunter Thax, who stepped forward with a data crystal. The holographic display activated, showing microscopic images of Earth's bacterial and viral life forms. The humans were not our true opponents, Thax explained. Their world is home to an ecosystem of microscopic predators more diverse and aggressive than any we've encountered. These organisms treat our biology as an undefended resource. Impossible, hissed Elder Maz. The Vorzak immune system is the pinnacle of evolutionary defense. Against macro threats, yes, countered Thax. But Earth's microbiome has evolved in constant warfare with itself and with multicellular life for billions of years. The humans don't merely survive this environment. They'd formed a symbiotic relationship with it. The display shifted to show human immune cells engaging with pathogens, the complex dance of resistance and adaptation that had occurred over millions of years of evolution. The humans possess immune systems of remarkable complexity, Thax continued. They host trillions of microorganisms within their own bodies, organisms that would kill most species, but which the humans have domesticated as allies. Elder Six's secondary eyes narrowed. So these humans are more dangerous than they appear. More dangerous than we could have imagined, Krasik confirmed, his coloration shifting to the deep blue of troubled contemplation. And now, they know we exist. On Earth, the remnants of the alien drop pods had become the focus of intense international study. In secure facilities across the globe, scientists and military specialists worked to understand the technology and biology of the failed invasion force. At the United Nations headquarters in New York, General Maria Santos addressed the hastily assembled Planetary Defense Council, her weathered face grave as she presented the latest findings. The aliens, which were calling the Vorzak based on recurring patterns in their language, appear to be apex predators from an extremely hostile world. She explained, gesturing to the holographic display showing the reconstructed physiology of the invaders. Their physical capabilities exceed human standards by several orders of magnitude. Their technology is centuries beyond ours. Then why did they leave? Asked the representative from China, leaning forward with intense interest. Dr. Aiden Nakamura, head of the Xenobiology Division, stepped to the podium. They were dying. Our initial assessment suggests their immune systems were completely unprepared for Earth's microbial environment. They suffered catastrophic biological failure almost immediately upon exposure. A murmur ran through the assembly as the implications became clear. So Earth's microbes saved us? The Russian delegate asked, incredulous. This time, Santos replied grimly. But they'll be back, and they'll be prepared. The next invasion force won't make the same mistake. The Secretary General's face was ashen. What do you propose, General? Santos nodded to her technical team, who displayed a new set of schematics. Operation Immune Response. We use the time we have to prepare, not just with conventional weapons, but by leveraging the very advantage that protected us. We need to understand what makes Earth's biosphere so deadly to them, and weaponize it. You're suggesting biological warfare against an alien species. The ethical implications hung heavy in the air. I'm suggesting we use every advantage we have, Santos countered. The recovered alien data indicates the Vorzak have conquered hundreds of worlds. They don't negotiate. They don't coexist. They consume and move on. As the debate raged on Earth, the Vorzak Dominion was reaching similar conclusions. The humans cannot be allowed to develop further, Elder Six declared, rising from her throne. They represent an existential threat to the Dominion. If they can weaponize their microlam. They already have, interrupted a new voice. The council chamber doors opened to admit Science Director Razkul, his exoskeleton bearing the distinctive blue markings of the rarely seen thinker caste. I've analyzed the data from the Worldbreaker. The humans didn't deploy biological weapons against us. They are biological weapons. Holos appeared around the chamber, displaying human history. For millennia, these creatures have waged war on each other, constantly evolving new methods of killing. They've deliberately harnessed the very microorganisms that defeated our hunters. They call it medicine, but it's really a form of biological engineering that they've been practicing for centuries. What do you propose? Asked Krasek, his patterns shifting to the crimson of renewed aggression. A full Dominion response, Razkul replied. Not a hunting expedition, but a sterilization campaign. We bombard their world from orbit with radiation until nothing remains alive. Then we harvest the resources. The council chittered in agreement, but Thax stepped forward again. There's something else you should see. The holo display changed to show Earth's military response in the hours after the Vorzak retreat. Fighter jets scrambling. Missile systems activating. Global defense networks coming online with remarkable speed. They detected us much earlier than we realized, Thax explained. And their response time was unprecedented. Most species, when faced with a superior predator, freeze or flee. These humans immediately prepared to fight. New images appeared, humans in hazmat suits examining Vorzak technology. Scientists reverse engineering alien systems. Military forces adapting their weapons based on recovered data. They learn at an extraordinary rate. Thax continued. In the months since our retreat, they've already incorporated elements of our technology into their defense systems. If we wait much longer, the technological gap will narrow significantly. Razkul's upper limbs twitched in agitation. All the more reason to strike immediately, with overwhelming force. Agreed, declared Elder Six. Prepare the Dominion fleet for sterilization protocol. We launch in 3 cycles. On Earth, Operation Immune Response had moved from planning to implementation. In laboratories around the world, scientists weaponized the very microbes that had defeated the first Vorzak incursion. Military forces drilled with new weapon systems incorporating reverse-engineered alien technology. Space-based defense platforms were hastily constructed. At the main research facility in Nevada, Dr. Nakamura presented his latest findings to General Santos. We've identified a key vulnerability in Vorzak physiology, he explained, displaying a holographic model of the alien immune system. Their biology is extraordinarily resistant to direct damage, but has almost no defense against microscopic threats. It's as though they evolved in an environment with limited microbial diversity. Santos studied the display intently. Can we exploit this? We already have, Nakamura replied with grim satisfaction. We've engineered specific strains of bacteria and viruses that target unique aspects of Vorzak biology. We've also developed delivery systems, everything from aerosol dispersal to projectile weapons loaded with concentrated microbial agents. Will it be enough? Santos questioned, her eyes never leaving the tactical displays showing the defense preparations. It has to be, Nakamura replied simply. Because our early warning systems just detected dimensional disturbances matching the signature of their previous arrival. They're coming back, and in much greater numbers. The Dominion sterilization fleet emerged from dimensional space with overwhelming force. 50 warships, each capable of rendering a continent uninhabitable. At their center, the new flagship Extinction dwarfed even the massive Worldbreaker. On its command deck, Supreme War Master Krasek, now encased in a fully sealed environmental suit, addressed the War Council. "There will be no surface deployment this time," he declared, his voice distorted by the breathing apparatus. "We begin orbital bombardment immediately. Target their major population centers and military installations first." "Supreme War Master," interrupted the sensor officer, "we're detecting energy signatures from the planet's surface. They've activated defensive systems." "Impossible," Krasek snarled. "They couldn't have developed such technology so quickly." But the evidence was undeniable. Across Earth's surface, defense platforms powered up, hybrid systems combining human ingenuity with reversed-engineered Vorzak technology. In silos and submarines around the globe, missile systems locked onto alien targets. "They're hailing us," reported the communications officer, surprise evident in her chittering. "Put it through," ordered Krasek, mandibles clicking in curiosity. The holographic display activated, showing General Santos in full military dress, her expression resolute. "This is General Maria Santos of Earth's United Defense Force. You are in violation of sovereign Earth space. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences." Krasek's bioluminescent patterns flashed with amusement. "Your defiance is noted, human. But your primitive weapons cannot harm our vessels. Surrender, and we may preserve a portion of your species as study specimens." Santos' expression didn't change. "We've studied your technology, War Master Krasek. We've analyzed your biology. We've prepared for your return. You've had mere months." Krasek scoffed. "We've been conquering worlds for millennia." "That's your weakness," Santos replied calmly. "You've never had to adapt quickly. Humanity has done nothing but adapt throughout our entire history." She leaned forward. "Last chance to withdraw." Krasek cut the transmission with a gesture of contempt. "Begin bombardment." The Dominion ships moved into position, their main weapons charging. But before they could fire, Earth struck first. From orbit and surface alike, thousands of missiles launched simultaneously. Most were intercepted by Vorzak defenses, but enough got through to surprise the alien fleet. Explosions blossomed across several warships, not nearly enough to destroy them. But the fact that human weapons could damage them at all was shocking. "Minor hull breaches on decks 7 through 12, reported the damage control officer. "Automated systems responding." "Continue with the bombardment," Krasek ordered, unimpressed. "These are merely primitive nuclear weapons." "Supreme War Master," interrupted the environmental officer, her voice suddenly urgent. "We're detecting biological contaminants at the breach sites." The realization hit Krasek like a physical blow. The missiles weren't just delivery systems for explosives. They were carriers, designed to breach Vorzak hulls and introduce Earth's microscopic predators directly into their ships. "Seal all affected areas," he roared. "Full decontamination protocols." But it was already spreading. Throughout the fleet, Vorzak warriors began succumbing to the engineered pathogens, organisms specifically designed to target their unique biology, spreading faster and killing more efficiently than the natural microbes that had defeated the first incursion. On the Extinction's bridge, Krasek watched in mounting horror as status reports flooded in. Ship after ship reported critical system failures as their crews collapsed at their stations. Environmental systems, overwhelmed by the need to filter the microscopic invaders, began shutting down. "The humans," First Hunter Thax observed, her voice filled with a reluctant admiration, even as her own environmental suit reported integrity failures. "They'd weaponized their entire planet against us." Krasek made the only decision possible. "All ships, emergency dimensional jump. Retreat to safe distance." But for many ships, it was already too late. Disabled by the combination of missile strikes and biological warfare, they drifted in Earth orbit, monuments to humanity's unexpected defense. As the surviving vessels of the once mighty sterilization fleet limped back into dimensional space, the truth spread throughout the galaxy. Earth was not a soft target. Humans were not easy prey. They were something unprecedented, a species that had evolved in one of the most microbiologically diverse and dangerous environments in the known universe, and had turned that evolutionary crucible into their greatest weapon. In the years that followed, the Vorzak Dominion never returned to Earth. Instead, they spread warnings to other spacefaring species. The humans appear weak, but their world has forged them into something unique. Predators disguised as prey, with invisible armies at their command. Earth, meanwhile, continued its accelerated technological development, incorporating the abandoned Vorzak ships into its growing fleet. Within a decade, human vessels ventured beyond their solar system for the first time, carrying with them the reputation that had begun with a failed invasion. Beware the Deathworlders of Earth. They've tamed their lethal world, and now they're coming to see yours.